Hey, welcome.
Hey guys, hello. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, Karan. I also my mouth stammers as well when I say internationalize. It's difficult. So thank you for that great introduction. I'm Amruth Pillai, and to be honest, I really don't have much to say about myself except that I got insanely lucky when building a personal project of mine, a simple resume builder called Reactive Resume. This talk is just going to be about decoding how I got lucky and hoping that this journey of mine would help you in your product development as well. I only have one simple idea to share with you today, and that's internationalization. I could end this talk right here, right now, for those who already know what that is. But do stick around. I think you might enjoy this. I'm going to talk about how I implemented i18n in my project, how it helped me in increasing collaboration amongst other open source devs, and also how it helped me reach my project goals much faster than I had expected. Finally, I'll also be talking about how you can adopt i18n into your apps today, and also some tools to help you in the process. Cool. So let's head on over to the link on the screen. This is rxresu.me, and I'm going to be logging in right now into the app. On this screen, you can create multiple resumes depending on your job profile. Clicking on a resume, you're taken to the resume builder. And while you're on the screen, you can edit stuff like your name. And you can watch it instantly change in the preview. On the left side, you can edit a bunch of sections. And on the right, you can change layouts, organize your layout. You can switch between templates, organize layouts. You can change colors even, or fonts, or a lot of other things. You can even export your resume as a PDF, or you can share a URL with anyone who would want the latest copy of your resume. But all that's great. The crux of today's conversation is right here, languages. Reactive Resume is currently available in 26 different languages and counting. I can simply switch to a language like, let's say, German, and it would change the interface completely, and also certain tokens used within the resume. Well, now that you've seen the app, a question that you might have popped into your mind would have been, what motivated you to add multiple language support in the first place? Or on the other hand, if you didn't have asked that question, here's the answer to it anyway. Uh, well, it was purely accidental. I added support for i18n to just allow the people around me to be able to use it in languages like Kannada and Tamil, for which I could translate on my own with the help of my friends. It was used by a few people here locally, but once it got a bit of traction on sites like Reddit or Hacker News, that's when a lot of users as well chimed in and added translations for their own languages. All that's great. But what was it good for, having added all these languages, or even more, having to develop the architecture to be able to translate the app? Because it wasn't easy. For one, increased collaboration. I never expected that I'd be working alongside so many amazing developers and translators who contributed to Reactive Resume. This increased the overall participation for this project on GitHub and was a contributing factor to why this particular repository received so much traffic. Secondly, positive conversions. Now, if this project had some kind of premium model, I could tell you how this helped me in making a lot of money. But sadly, it had none of these things. Since Reactive Resume is a non-profit project, I only measured conversions by analyzing how many people are talking about the project and thus spreading the word to those who need it the most. For this, I often head to Twitter to see what people are saying, and it's been good things so far. Some other key takeaways from this journey were finding out more about my domain, because now I had to cater to a larger audience. One specific example to this is that when I started having people translate the app to European languages like German or French, people from these regions were requesting for a special type of template called Europass, which is widely used there. This is something I would have never known about if it weren't for them. It also helped me in increasing accessibility in the product overall. I was inclined to use icons in place of text more often than not, so that translators wouldn't have to work too hard to convert every phrase into their language. This also made it possible for users of advanced ages or non-English speaking natives to navigate the user interface without any aid. A small example of this is that I've developed many projects before, but when I showed Reactive Resume to my dad, who is a native Tamil speaker, he was able to use it just like how I imagined anybody else to be using it. Soon enough, he was sharing the link to the project with his friends and family on various WhatsApp groups, as most dads do. And this turned into a viral marketing campaign that would have never even crossed my mind. All right. Okay, taking a quick detour from our regularly scheduled programming, here's a neat GIF. My conscience wouldn't let me be free if I hadn't kept at least one resume related GIF in the presentation. So that's where it is. A quick shout out to the fans of The Office. All right. So getting back, now we've briefly gone through the advantages of having an architecture where you allow translations for your app. Let's talk about how to adopt i18n into your app today. Something that can take minimal effort is adopting multiple currencies for when, let's say, you have an e-commerce platform. On the other hand, if you have an app where your users deal with dates and records, it would go a long way to support an option to choose multiple date time formats. On top of this, implementing an architecture to include translations might be time-consuming, but a very fruitful task in the end. You can make use of libraries like i18n-ize to incorporate the architecture necessary to allow translations into your app. There are even automation tools like i18n Scanner to help you extract all the strings from your app into a single JSON file. Next, you can use a translation management platform such as Crowdin to help you manage your different languages and strings. This aids in non-tech folks as well to help you translate your app without having to clone your GitHub repo and edit a JSON file without any context. A big shout out to GitHub's student developer pack here. If you have access to this, it has a lot of offers for much more advanced and feature-rich language management platforms that you can use for your public or private repositories. Fun fact, I actually found Crowdin through this list myself, and countless of other tools that help me in building Reactive Resume. Before moving to the end of this talk, I'd like to go through a few glossary of words that you would tend to come across while dwelling in the domain of languages. They all might seem the same, but there is a very important distinction between each of them, and understanding them would ensure that you've covered your bases. G11N is the father of all buzzwords, globalization. It simply means to make your existing product available to a global market. The methods of making a product global, well, that's what's coming next. i18n is the one that I used to title this talk and repeated numerous times during this presentation, but it isn't everything. Internationalization means to make your product cater to an international audience. This could mean that they speak the same language as you, but have other differences such as currency or date time formats. L10N is something that I haven't picked on specifically for this talk, but an important step nevertheless. Localization is all about creating content that caters to audience from different cultures or even different languages. For example, if you were to have a cooking blog, you wouldn't want to feature an article about biryani recipes in a location that's known for its sweet tooth. You would want to tailor some specific content for people located there, maybe gulab jamun. On a much grander scale, Netflix tries to incorporate localization by actively producing content, not just in English, but in other spoken languages such as Spanish, Hindi, or even Tamil. T9N is all about translation, making your user interface available for consumption in multiple languages. That's it. And finally, A11Y is something you might have heard about in other contexts, accessibility, but equally applicable here. By creating more products that can be used in multiple languages, we're creating a much more accessible internet for everyone. Coming back to the original idea that I wanted to share with you, if there's just one thing to take away from this lightning talk, it's that if you have an app out there today, or better yet, if you're planning to build your next project, please make it accessible through multiple languages. Your users will thank you for it. I'd like to take a quick slide to dedicate this talk to all the people who helped Reactive Resume be what it is today, to all the donations made, to all the PRs that have been raised, and the languages that have been contributed. A big thank you to all of you. My name is Amruth Pillai, and you can reach out to me through my website at amruthpillai.com or on my email at hello@amruthpillai.com. I'll also be available to answer any questions you might have at the GitHub discussions board, where I'll also be sharing links to this slide and other resources spoken for in this talk. So yeah, come say hi. Thank you to GitHub India for this amazing opportunity. And thank you so much to everyone watching. You've really made one of my dreams come true today. Bye-bye.